Hello, everybody, and welcome to Worldsmithing, where we take an idea and we world build it. I'm Cody.
And I'm Joe. I don't know where that came
Welcome.
from.
I
It's
liked it though. It had like
it
a very
is
like
Oprah feel. Yeah, that's what I was
yeah,
going
a little
for.
bit, or like a talk, like a very booming talk show host, if you will.
Yeah, it's also.
Yeah,
Hey, Cody, with any nerdy stuff you? Oh boy, any nerdy stuff you've been up to lately, my friend?
yeah.
Have I
I
exhausted
have.
it?
I mean, I am definitely reaching for the bottom of the barrel on this one, but I have been I've been playing a lot of games in my spare time when I'm not like creating stuff for the podcast and like the other stuff, but a lot of D&D stuff,
Mm-hmm.
mostly like outside of the stuff that I've already talked about. I'm working on the next my other group, not the one that you're in, but like another group. I'm doing like kind of a spy themed thing, so I'm working on their next mission,
Very
which
cool.
is going to be super fun. Um, but yeah, what about you? What have you been up to?
I've been doing my thing. I've been reading Dune,
Nice.
the Frank Herbert classic. In preparation for the movie that's coming out. It's a beefy book there. And then
Yeah, I
I've been
bet.
rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender just cause it
You
haunted
know, what a good show.
for sure. It haunted me that like Netflix showed that I hadn't watched it, and so I was like, I gotta show Netflix that I watched it.
Yeah, I watched it the first time my first semester in college
Mm-hmm.
because I had just heard such good things and it was like this is so great, and then I rewatched it with Jess
Uh
many
huh.
years later.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it was
such
one
a
of
great
those
show.
for sure. It was one of those deals where like I started it was one of those deals where I would catch the occasional episode as a kid, and like I would
Right.
watch it for a little bit, and I would be like, I can't watch this. I can only watch this if I watch it all the way through. And then this
Right.
was before you could watch things readily or easily without like renting DVDs or whatever. So like I never ended up actually watching it, and then because like I remember watching part of like the season 2 finale, and I was like, there is clearly so much going on that I have no idea about. And as a kid, it frustrated me to no end, so I turned it off. And I watched it right out of college. But anyway,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
clink, clink, clink. Do you hear that clinking in the
I
distance?
do.
It's time for
Hold on. I'm looking at the table and I'm taking a microscope to it to make sure I'm getting all those nice little small details. Ooh, yeah. I'm liking
Oh,
the way that.
that was it. Okay, I was like, where are
Yeah,
we going
yeah,
here?
yeah. I really like the level of detail on that moon base. It's looking
I do,
hot.
I do too.
Yeah. So today is our micro episode. Oh my god. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna get into the kind of the surface level stuff. Probably the stuff that your players are going to notice first. These are the things that kind of cement the legitimacy, if you will, of this stuff. So we're gonna get into our moon base, which we have named Explutnik.
Explutnik.
Yeah. And the area in which the players are going to be mostly playing in, although they may leave it depending on where the tabletop role playing game takes them, is the capital of Explutnik, New Cape Canaveral.
Canaveral.
Canaveral. God damn it! I can't even do it in the year 20XX, and it
Twenty
goes like
XX.
this. Yeah. It's another lovely day as the earth cascades across the sky. We find ourselves just outside the biggest city in all of Explutnik Moonbase, and its capital, New Cape, New Cape Canaveral.
Canaveral.
Canaveral. Fuck. I'm gonna do this the whole episode. I apologize. By the spaceport, we find people already lifting and moving Moonway cargo to its new home on base. As the grav mule sputters out onto the street, we see numerous buildings stacked neat and orderly on either side of the road. There's an abrupt stop and a loud horn blares as a jaywalker flips off the driver. We follow the jaywalker to the side of the road and find workers getting ready for their morning grind, thermos in hand. A few blocks down, we find new Cape Canaveral City Hall with government employees rushing inside. Connected to City Hall is an aerial walkway from Moonway Tower looming over City Hall across the street. Don't worry about traveling on foot. If your commute is long, you can take the city. You're going to have to help me with this one again. Why am I so. My brain is
Quick
shut off.
trots.
Quick trots to get around. If we just take one of those for a few minutes, we find ourselves in one of the family hubs equipped with apartment towers, Moonway grocery stores, and a park with a great view of Earth. If you're new in town, I suggest going to the most famous place in all of New Cape Canaveral, Nebula Junction. It's a local bar with a lot of history and some of the best damn drinks this side of the moon. So that is our intro. That is what the players will hear as they come on in.
Yeah.
From here, we'll talk about some people of importance that the players may work with, may interact with, or maybe they're enemies right off the bat. Do
Yeah.
you want to start?
Sure. So yeah. So I'm talking about the leader of Explutnik, the Prime Minister, Janet Vlad. Now I can't speak. Janet Vlachkovic. So Janet is the leader of Econostrength and has lineage that connects her directly to the first settlers of the moon. So her grandfather Dmitri and her grandmother Sarah were one of the first marriages between the two bases, and they are credited for initiating peace talks and bringing the two societies together. Janet is currently in her mid 30s, and growing up in lower gravity means that she is slightly taller and thinner than those who have grown up on Earth. In her teens, there were experimental gravity adjusting tech to allow her to get it closer to Earth's density, but she chose to forego it. Some have accused Janet of being two-faced. Her public persona is very prim and proper and straight-laced, but behind the scenes, she is much more sarcastic and lively. As the head of Econostrength, she's finding the difficult position of trying to appease the New Earth Party to keep her coalition happy. It is clear that living the daily life of a politician has taken much out of her. So she can be found primarily in New Cape Canaveral, in the home of the home that the government provides for her and her family, or in the Parliament building located in New Cape Canaveral. She has also in recent months been accused of trying to kill the Tunnel Skinners and also the Quick Trots to give a monopoly to the new Moonway Enterprises monopoly in transportation. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Moonway Enterprises Space Relations Chief Officer, or SRCO, Blake Jacobs. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential men on the moon. When he's not running Moonway Enterprise from his ivory tower, he's enjoying all the nightlife Explutnik has to offer. He is a short man with gray hair, expensive clothes, and a waistline that would suggest he enjoys eating more than he does working out. While physically, he isn't anything to brag about, he has a quick wit and an eye for business. And most recently, he's been fighting for new technology called the Grav Mules to slowly replace some, we'll call it, outdated technology on the moon.
Nice. All right. The next character I'm going to be talking about is Chet Barrett, who is the leader of the United Laborers of Space Shipping. Okay. Chet Barrett was a rising executive in Moonway's enterprises, but early on in his tenure, he decided that he was going to do a tour of every aspect of the job. So he went on some of the ships, he went to some of the warehouses, he tried to live the daily lives of many of the people who were working for the Moonway Enterprises base. And he realized pretty quickly that Moonway was exploiting their workers. So he decided that he was going to step down from the company and fight for those who worked for the enterprises. While he was initially met with skepticism and distrust, over the years he's worked and proven himself to be a true and loyal ally for those he works with. Chet is in his mid-50s. He was born on Earth, meaning that he is stockier than many moon citizens, having grown up in Earth's gravitational orbit. He has gray hair and a big gray bushy beard. He is slightly overweight, and he likes to wear Hawaiian shirts for some reason that no one quite understands, except he finds it very funny. Um, he has a deep, booming voice, and he is generally seen as gregarious. And he also has kind eyes and a big smile. He's an expert public speaker and has the ability to command an audience. Located nearby New Cape Canaveral, almost in like a Twin Cities situation, like in Minnesota, there is another city called Dimitrograd, which is the city that was formed out of the former Soviet settlement that became the second major city. It is located nearby New Cape Canaveral, and this is where Chet can normally be found because this is where the primary headquarters of the warehouses for Moonway Enterprises are located. This is named after Dmitry Vladimировich, one of the parties responsible for creating peace on Explotnik. So he's either located in the headquarters or near the docks, helping those he fights for tirelessly.
Nice. So we now pan over to Eva Greed, who is a notorious outlaw who lives within the seedy underbelly of Explotnik. While the government and Moonway Enterprise would label Eva as an outlaw, many of its citizens would call her a hero. Like the tales from Earth, she steals from the rich and powerful and gives to the poor. Don't let her stories mislead you, however. When push comes to shove, Eva takes shit from no one. One wrong move, and you're very likely to lose a few teeth. Or worse. While no one can really find out, or can no one place where she might be at a given moment, it has been reported that she has blonde asymmetrical hair, a bright red leather jacket with spikes, and greed tattooed to her knuckles. There are countless reports of theft, battery, and Grand Theft Auto, all tied to her name.
Very nice. All right. Um, shall we do the location section?
Yeah, yes,
Excellent.
of
So yeah,
course.
these are two potential locations that your characters might be spending time in or things like that. So I have developed the docks of Dimitrograd. So located in Dimitrograd, a city close by New Cape Canaveral, lies the docks, the major shipping port of the Explotnik state. The docks are large, shipping all kinds of goods for Moonway Enterprises, and they are broken down into two major spaces. The warehouse, that is full of gigantic boxes, like think the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Um, the smell of the warehouse is very astringent. That's because it is a closely controlled environment with hourly cleanings to not damage the controlled ecosystem of the warehouse. It's one of those things where if even a slight thing goes wrong, it can cripple Moonway Enterprises for a long, long, long while. And then the second place is the transport zone. This is located on the moon surface and has been nicknamed Trotter Lane, as most of the work done is via quick trots. The shift varies. The shifts will vary, but there are generally 3 8-hour shifts on rotating locations. So if you are on schedule A, like your day 1 will be Trotter Lane, day 2 will be warehouse, day 3 will be the offices. Schedule B, day 1 would be warehouse, day 2 would be office, day 3 would be Trotter, and then schedule C, day 1 would be office, day 2 would be Trotter, and day 3 would be the warehouse. It's cold and clinical and has very little personality on its surface, although the workers have been known to add, little hints of personality here and there, singing songs, telling, off-colored jokes or stories, things like that. It's cold and clinical, has little very personalities. Things seem to be devolving a little bit, but at the moment it's still working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And another location of interest for the players is Nebula Junction. Nebula Junction is a bar on the oldest street in New Cape
Canaveral.
Canaveral. No, Canaveral.
Canaveral.
God, one of these days. While today it's a tourist spot with the best drinks this side of the moon, it's the site of the Nebula Junction massacre. Nebula Junction was originally a neutral trading post for both Russian and American traders during the early settlement days of the moon. Things were pretty sketchy for the most part, but things came to an awful tipping point when a gunfight broke out, killing everyone inside. A single stray bullet broke a gasket that vacuumed the entire trading post. After losing so many traders, Russian and American diplomats came together to not only ban the use of traditional firearms, but also began their talks for the unified alliance that we know today. You can still go to the spot where the stray bullet blew a gasket that they have on display for everyone to see today. It's definitely a tourist spot. You go here if you're looking for people who don't necessarily know the moon too well. And last but certainly not least, we'll talk about our transportation network, since things are going to be a little different here than they are on Earth.
Yeah. Um, there are two primary ways of transportation on the moon, at least at the moment. So the first one is the quick trots, which are sort of self contained travel units that are kind of I kind of envision them as like ATSTs from Star Wars. So
Yeah.
it's designed for an individual. They're easy to control. They're very they're very simple and easy to control. Um, and they're modifiable, so you can like add extensions to maybe like make it a family unit or things like that. But they are used primarily for work, but you can also use them to travel around the city. So for instance, you might have like a truck size one, and then you have your individual auto one. The quick trots have been used for a good long while. They were the key to making the moon autonomous by becoming incredibly popular on Earth as well, for their ability to help those who were unable to walk for reasons. They're easy to control, and they were able to provide that service. Now, to go between the cities of Explutnik, this would take quite a while until the tunnel skinners were invented. And the tunnel skinners are a system of subterranean monorails where the track can be changed in real time based on the shifting dusts of the moon. Tunnel skinners have the ability to lay quick track, and at the time of their invention, they were a monument to human achievement. They were quick, reliable, and free to the public, funded by taxes of Moonway enterprises. However, over the years, as Moonway's responsibilities have lessened due to the growing power of econostrength, the responsibilities of Moonways have lessened, and the quality of the tunnel skinners have deteriorated. There are rumors that Moonways is planning the demise of the tunnel skinners and the quick trots and replacing them with prohibitively expensive surface travel devices. Although the good people of the ULSS and the Lib Farm Party are trying their hardest to fight against this, to keep this system running because of its great benefit to every citizen of the moon.
Yeah. And I'm here to tell you about grav mules, which is exactly what they don't want. With the mass integration of Moonway Enterprise, we are now seeing the first early uses of grav vehicles. These vehicles have the same purpose as quick trots, but are quickly becoming more popular due to their gravtech technology. While there aren't any consumer models just yet, there are already many grav mules that act as Moonway Enterprise's primary mode of transportation. This vehicle is very similar to that of an Earth flatbed truck, without the weight restrictions. Due to the advancement in gravity technology, most grav mules can support up to 100,000 pounds or more. And if Moonway Enterprise has their way, everyone is going to have a grav vehicle soon. And there we have it.
So yeah, I think like one of the biggest things unlike the last world builders in Fantasy Egypt, I think that thinking through how the various systems of a moon base works, things like transportation or the shipping and receiving docks or things like that, is incredibly important. Just because of the fact that you're in this potentially dangerous situation if you leave the comfort and security of your cities. So I feel like that was like an important reason why we needed to focus on these things as we moved forward.
Yeah.
Um, Much like the other one, though, it's always important to give your players a couple of characters early on that they can, form alliances with, latch onto, things like that. One of the things that kind of excited me about doing the moon base is that I feel like with the fantasy Egypt, we kind of had like a clear like your characters will be doing X and this faction is like bad. Whereas with I feel like the Moonway, the moon base, it's I feel like we kind of designed it so that you could support really any of any of these various factions and have like interesting conflicts and stories being told. So whereas in the last one I think we kind of like established like a clear like villain, in this one, you know we just have people who fill different roles. And if your party wants to work for the ULSS, they're probably working with Chet. But if they want to be outlaws, they have an outlet for that as well, right? That was one of the
Yeah.
things that kind of excited me about this one. Is I think that we left it a little bit more open um, for doing, multiple, what's it called, multiple directions that it can that your campaign can go in. So
Yeah. And it's also like we started off small and are kind of, as we progress, we're trying out new things with this stuff. And in my personal experience, I think as you grow when you're world building and doing creative stuff, having factions not necessarily have a quote unquote like alignment, if you will, and
yeah,
they are more about certain ideals or goals. And they may, like, I know we've sort of set up Moonway Enterprise to kind of like, you're not really sure what they're up about or what they're all about, but you can kind of tell where, like, they've got money in mind. They're a corporation, they're trying to make money. They're not necessarily inherently evil, but by the way we talked about them, some people might see them as evil, and it's about perspective. If you have a bunch of factions and organizations that like have different like viewpoints, you create an interesting scenario where it's not necessarily so cut and dry as to who the players might want to side with, or who might end up being the villain of this story. You know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah, and I think that's always something to consider when you're world building, right? Sometimes it's a little more straightforward, or sometimes you can have some fun with it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else you'd like to add for this micro episode?
No, I think if I add any more, it's gonna bleed into what the
Yeah,
session one is gonna look like.
exactly.
I think we have just enough to just give that little moon cheese
So
taste.
a little amuse bouche. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, things like that. Well, then, hey Cody,
yeah.
if people like what they heard in this episode and they want to learn more, where's the place that they can learn some more?
They can go to our website at www.fandomroulette.com, where they can find all of our episodes as they're going live. They can also scroll down past our bios before the internet social tags and whatnot to find a forum where they, or a form rather, not a forum, where they can basically fill out what they would like to see in the next world smithing. These are kind of our dreams, like, ooh, what would we like to create in this amount of time and stuff like that. But we'd also like to take audience suggestions and start building other things that we haven't even thought of yet. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and you can do it right there.
And yeah, and if people want to listen to the episode, but they don't necessarily use the same platforms that we listen to, where are some places that people can find this episode if they want to tell a friend about it?
We are on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on SoundCloud, Spotify, we're on YouTube. So if you like YouTube, we're on there. Feel free to reach out to us on basically any platform that catches your RSS podcasts and whatnot. All you got to do is search Fandom Roulette.
And if people want to engage with us on social medias, where are some places that they can find us on the social medias?
Well, they can tweet at us at fandomr_podcast if they want to give us ideas about worldsmithing, tell us how they liked various episodes and whatnot. And if you just want to see us, posting pictures, memeing, and all that stuff, you can look for us on Facebook and Instagram. All you got to do is search Fandom Roulette.
Yeah, and please remember to like, rate, review, and subscribe.
Smash the bell.
Smash the bell. Tell a friend. Move us up those various rankings and ratings, because hey, that's super cool and super nice. And yeah, we would appreciate that.
Yes.
God, it's oh God. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening to Fandom Roulette. And we'll see you next time when we run through a potential session 1 of this year moon-based system thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, signing off for Fandom Roulette, this is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And as always, stay nerdy.
Stay super nerdy.